All right, let's finish this up. Just a couple other little things to say. Remember that right before our Unit 10, we really delved into the computer printouts. So you have got to know where that information is, where those coefficients are, which one is the y-intercept and which one's the slope. Remember that we started using the calculator, StatCalc LinReg number 8, because the slope we were really representing with B, and the y-intercept kind of was being represented with the letter A from our calculator. And of course, that coefficient of determination is what's given to us, the r squared. Don't do r squared adjusted. And then you have to square root that to get the correlation coefficient. Now, when you square root that r squared, you need to make sure you look at the slope to know if the value is positive correlation or a negative correlation. Okay? And then, of course, the S is that standard deviation of residuals. All right. Now, if we are given just one list of data, then you can just get that one list of data and put that in and do your one variable statistics. But we've seen problems where they have a frequency. Maybe even if they don't do this in terms of probability, if they didn't do a probability distribution, which we'll actually talk about tomorrow when we talk about doing the probabilities, but what if they said 0 happens 3 times and 1 happens 5 times and so on and so forth? Well, suppose that you have something such as that, then you would need to then go to Stat Calc and you put your information in. So say 28 occurred 2 times and 65 occurred 6 times, and then there were 3 of the 12s. Okay, maybe whatever those were the scores you could get. When you do stat calculate the one variable statistics, you would want to do that with list 1, calculate for list 1, but calculate with list 2's frequency. Okay, so that way it would give you the mean, which the mean here is not just what I have, 28 plus 65 plus 12 divided by 3. Because if you added 28 plus 65 plus 12 divided by 3, it's not 43 point whatever. 28 plus 65 plus 12 divided by 3, it's 35. Okay, so much different because we had 6 of those 65s. So stat calc one variable statistics of list 1 with list 2's frequency. So make sure you're familiar when you need that or do not. It's if you have multiple values. Okay, then we knew that we were doing our stat calc linear regression to get the least squares regression line. Now, we saw this happen. What happens if the r and the r squared do not show up on your calculator? Then you need to go and turn the diagnostics on. Diagnostics on. You can do that in one of two places. You could either go to second mode. So by looking at the second mode, then look here, you have all these options here. Stat diagnostics is what you want to go to and turn that on so that when you calculate LinReg, it will compute the R and R squared. Now, if you do not have this updated operating system, you can go to second 0, and this is a catalog of everything, and then you can scroll down to the letter D in the alphabet. So I did not do that correctly. You can scroll down to the letter D in the alphabet of our catalog, and okay, so it's not happening. Second 0 is the catalog. Scroll down to the letter D and then go on down to the diagnostics and hit enter to turn those on. All right, so there it is. So you want to go turn the diagnostics on. All right, so that is so that you can get that r and that r squared. And so let's finish this up. Okay, remember that, okay, so here's what these sections look like on the formula chart. All right, so this little piece here is where, we've got the predicted y. Don't forget to always write it with the predicted y. And then if, say, you were given the standard deviation of the y, the standard deviation of the x, the mean of the x's, and the mean of the y's, and then they would give you the correlation. So they would give you these 5 summary statistics and ask you to use these 5 things to come up with an equation of the line. Well, that's when you use this here. So you're going to then first find the slope and then go plug in 3 things to then solve for the y-intercept. All right, and then here, don't forget about our notation. Our actual y and predicted y, the mean of x and the mean of y, our standard deviation of residuals, our standard deviation of x and y, that correlation coefficient, r squared. All right, there you go. That is the end of our linear regression review, because we, again, had gotten so much of this reviewed right before Unit 10. All right, so good luck to you on your assignment.